or military threats. Instead, she's grappling with a very personal conflict. Her 17-year-old daughter Serena has defied security protocols, snuck out of the White House, partied at a Georgetown bar, and ended up plastered all over late-night news. The next day, as scrutiny over her parenting begins to mount, President Sutton delivers a major policy address. She unveils a bold initiative to combat global hunger, introducing a plan to distribute microloans in digital currency to underserved African farmers, many of whom lack access to traditional banking systems and rely solely on hidden cash for purchasing seeds. Her objective: to rally support at the upcoming G20 summit in Cape Town, South Africa. However, one journalist pointedly asks, how can she expect to lead the world when she can't even control her daughter? Facing mounting public pressure, Sutton makes a strategic and emotional decision to take her entire family, including husband Eric, daughter Serena, and young son Demetrius, with her to the summit. Accompanying them are two key allies, Agent Manny Ruiz, her fiercely loyal bodyguard and longtime friend, and Joanna Worth, the U.S. Treasury Secretary. But not all world leaders are receptive to Sutton's proposal. British Prime Minister Oliver Everett expresses doubts, and Sutton must also gain the support of Elena Romano, the newly appointed head of the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Meanwhile, in Budapest, a woman named Chu arrives at a church to complete a shadowy crypto deal. When her buyer insists the funds will only be released after the blockchain confirms the transaction, Chu senses a betrayal. She violently subdues him and escapes, only to be ambushed by a man named Rutledge. He injects her with a sedative and steals her crypto wallet, vanishing into the night. Back in Cape Town, everything appears normal at first as world leaders gather for official photos. Behind the scenes, however, Rutledge's mercenaries have already infiltrated the hotel's security system. They've reprogrammed doors, smuggled in weapons disguised as camera gear, and even posed as hotel staff. Suddenly, the hotel's Wi-Fi goes dark, followed by an explosion in the hotel's security team's quarters. As a noxious gas begins to fill the ballroom, doors lock, and global leaders begin to collapse. A fake rescue team enters, only to kill one of the leaders on the spot. The attackers separate the politicians from their families. Fortunately, a few countries had already stationed their security personnel in the venue, allowing a small number of officials, including Sutton, to escape. In the midst of the chaos, Sutton shows her combat instincts haven't faded. She risks her life to rescue the UK Prime Minister and barely makes it out thanks to Manny's quick thinking. As gas floods the hotel and gunmen roam the halls, panic erupts. Sutton and her allies manage a daring escape using a hidden exit behind the bar, after she creates a diversion by tossing a fire extinguisher and Manny shoots it to create a smoke screen. Elsewhere, Eric bursts into a room just in time to save their kids, who had been taken hostage. Sutton and Manny disagree on the next move. She wants to arm herself and fight, but he doubts she's ready for combat after years away from the battlefield. Before they can finish arguing, South Korea's First Lady, Han Mino, discovers a laundry chute. Without hesitation, she slides in, leading the rest to follow. Back in the ballroom, Rutledge's mercenaries celebrate their dominance. But when they realize Sutton and the UK Prime Minister have escaped, Rutledge orders his team to hunt them down. Meanwhile, the Sutton kids and Eric barricade themselves in a room and plan an escape. They create a diversion using a makeshift rope of bedsheets, tricking their pursuers into thinking they've climbed down to the first floor. As Sutton and other surviving leaders regroup, Manny suspects the attackers had inside information. Sutton notes that even elite U.S. forces were wiped out quickly. Their only hope is to reach the Beast, the president's bulletproof, high-tech vehicle hidden in the hotel's underground garage. Rutledge takes his plans public with a global livestream. He claims the world's financial elites were plotting to enslave smaller nations using a new digital currency. He calls for mass rebellion and urges people to pull their funds from banks and markets, investing instead in cryptocurrency, allegedly the only truly free currency. He threatens to begin executing hostages if any rescue is attempted. Back in the U.S., intelligence agents identify Rutledge as Edward Rutledge, a disgraced former Australian Special Forces soldier. The FBI already had a file on him, raising troubling questions about how he bypassed security. Inside the hotel, Sutton insists on rescuing a group of hostages despite Manny's objections. Together, they execute a plan. Manny electrifies a flooded floor to neutralize one guard, while Sutton storms in, shooting another and knocking out a third with a frying pan. Manny takes a bullet meant for her. Chaos spreads globally. Stock markets crash. Protests erupt. Then, a breakthrough. Serena rigs together an uplink using parts from a satellite TV to transmit a message to U.S. intelligence. They receive her signal and now know the president is alive, and that Agent Darden, one of their own, is a traitor. Joanna is later revealed to be the mole feeding intel to Rutledge, bitter over being passed up for the presidency. Sutton confronts her. "I was elected," she says, striking her down. Rutledge begins killing hostages, starting with the Australian Prime Minister, as leverage to make Sutton surrender. When Derek and Joanna are captured and used as bait, Sutton reveals her location to save them. As Rutledge attempts to flee with Serena via helicopter, Sutton intercepts him, exchanging his precious crypto wallet for her daughter's life. She boards the helicopter in a daring move, leading to a final showdown. As they struggle over the helicopter's edge, Sutton manages to hold on while Rutledge plummets to his death. With the help of the Navy SEALs, South African Special Forces, and remaining G20 allies, Sutton is rescued. Joanna is arrested, Manny survives, and Sutton's iconic, blood-stained dress is immortalized in a museum. The African Farmers Initiative is signed into law, and Sutton is hailed as a global hero, mother, soldier, president, and survivor.